The stench of decay hung heavy in the air, a chilling counterpoint to the bright December sun that beat down on Sydney, Australia. In the shadow of the iconic harbour bridge, a nightmare unfolded in a quiet suburban park. The victim, a young woman, lay sprawled amidst the carefully manicured greenery, her body a tragic tableau of violence. The woman's face was bruised and battered, her eyes forever closed to the world. The killer had silenced her screams, leaving her with a macabre calling card, a wad of newspaper stuffed into her mouth. This single, chilling detail transformed an already horrific murder into something even more sinister. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community and ignited a firestorm in the media. Who was this young woman, and what monster could have committed such a brutal act? The police faced a daunting task. The hunt was on for a killer, but the path to justice would be long and arduous. Time was of the essence. Every passing hour lessened the chances of finding the perpetrator. The forensic team meticulously combed the crime scene, searching for any shred of evidence that could lead them to the killer. The newspaper, removed with the utmost care, became a focal point. Perhaps it held fingerprints, DNA, or any clue that could break the case wide open. The body, bearing the full brunt of the killer's rage, was also a silent witness. The forensic pathologist noted every wound, every bruise, every minute detail that could help them understand the last moments of the victim's life. Yet, for all their efforts, the killer remained an elusive phantom. The fingerprints found on the newspaper were smudged, unusable. Frustration mounted as days turned into weeks and the trail grew colder. The police released a composite sketch of the victim to the public, hoping someone would recognize her. Days turned into weeks, leads ran dry, the case went cold. The young woman remained nameless, a Jane Doe, her story untold, her killer still at large. The lack of identification gnawed at the investigators. Without a name, they couldn't uncover her past, her connections, or any potential enemies. Then, a breakthrough. A woman came forward, her voice trembling, her eyes filled with a mixture of grief and recognition. She identified the victim as Vivianne Ruiz, a dancer at a local club. Vivianne, she revealed, was also a prostitute, a dangerous profession that put her in harm's way. The revelation opened up a new line of inquiry, a dark underbelly of the city where danger lurked in the shadows. Richard White was no stranger to the criminal justice system. His rap sheet was long and littered with offences, petty thefts, assaults, and a disturbing propensity for violence against women. He was a predator, drawn to the fringes of society, preying on the vulnerable. His name, whispered among the dancers and sex workers, evoked fear and disgust. Witnesses placed White near the park where Vivianne's body was discovered on the night of her murder. He had been seen arguing with her, his voice laced with anger, his demeanor menacing. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place. White became the prime suspect, but suspicion alone was not enough. The police needed concrete evidence to tie him to the murder. The hunt for Richard White was on. The case, now a media sensation, gripped the nation. People followed every twist and turn, their fascination tinged with fear and outrage. The police, working tirelessly, followed every lead, every whisper, determined to bring Vivianne's killer to justice. Their persistence paid off. A tip led them to a seedy motel on the outskirts of town. White, disheveled and desperate, was apprehended without incident. The relief was palpable. Finally, after months of relentless pursuit, they had their man. The trial was a media circus, the prosecution presenting a compelling case woven together with forensic evidence and witness testimony. White, represented by a skilled defense attorney, maintained his innocence, claiming he was a victim of circumstance. The jury, however, was unconvinced. The verdict, when it came, was swift and decisive: guilty. Richard White was sentenced to life in prison, his reign of terror finally brought to an end. Justice, though delayed, had prevailed. Vivianne Ruiz, the young woman who had come to Sydney with dreams of a better life, could finally rest in peace. Her murder, a stark reminder of the dark side of humanity, had shaken the city to its core. The case highlighted the crucial role of forensic science in modern criminal investigations. The tiniest fibers, microscopic traces of DNA, and even the smudged fingerprints on a discarded newspaper had all played their part in bringing a killer to justice. The murder of Vivianne Ruiz served as a grim reminder that even in the bustling metropolis of Sydney, darkness could lurk in the shadows. It also underscored the importance of vigilance, awareness, and the tireless pursuit of justice for all victims, no matter their background or walk of life.